Thank you very much, Carson, for the introduction and housekeeping, and welcome everybody to the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum. We warmly welcome you here. We have a lot of friends saying hello up here, so this is good. It has been a great and very busy season this semester for the forum, including tonight, which is a good conversation we look forward to having, and tomorrow, where we'll have what we're calling a pop-up forum, recently organized given the importance of the topic, which will be the politics of impeachment. So tomorrow at 4 o'clock here at the forum, we'll welcome David Gergen, who will be in conversation with Margaret Tulov, a former IOP fellow and writer for Axios, and David King from the faculty here at the Kennedy School. So 4 o'clock tomorrow on the politics of impeachment. So it'll be an interesting session. But this evening we have the opportunity, Stories from a State Dinner. The diplomacy is in the details, where we're bringing together two social secretaries in conversation with our former university marshal, Jackie O'Neill, for this conversation. And the role of social secretary is an important one, because they operate, both Deesha and Capricia in this important role, operate at the intersection of politics and hospitality and communications and diplomacy, all under the very watchful eye of the national and international press. And it's a critical role, a senior level role. Deesha Dyer, of course, is an IOP fellow this year at the Institute of Politics, and she was the 30th person to hold this position. She's leading a study group here at the Institute of Politics from imposter to impact. We're glad to have Deesha here. Let's give it up for Deesha Dyer. Ambassador Capricia Marshall has been my friend for many years. I just love saying ambassador. She has the unique perspective of having served as social secretary for President Clinton, and then as ambassador, as chief of protocol, which carries the rank of ambassador in the Obama administration. So she will bring that perspective to her role. Ambassador, we welcome you here. Thank you. So in thinking about this, and I was fortunate to work with Capricia as Deputy Chief of Staff and White House Communications Director, and saw that importance of, as I said, that intersection of all those threads. And the White House Social Secretary operates at that level, at senior levels of the White House staff, working with the President and the First Lady and their senior staff on arranging every possible detail, from events at the White House that might have 2 people, that might have a few hundred people at a state dinner, or 7,000 to 8,000 people at a state arrival ceremony. From invitations to entertainment to hospitality to the menu to the myriad of details that one could imagine. Our guests this evening really work in that space in an important way. Sally Quinn, who's been here to the forum several times, the Washington Post writer and keen observer of the White House and politics and social scene in Washington, wrote the following as sort of the golden rule for White House social secretaries, when she said, "When putting together a guest list for the approval of the President and the First Lady, you had to be sure to invite people who should be invited, soothe those who are not invited but think they should be invited, and don't invite people who should not be invited." And do that with a smile and earn your reputation along the way. So this is a really rich conversation, but a very important conversation about diplomacy and how the use of the White House, the representational work, who is invited, where they are seated, that's an extraordinary statement for any administration and any president, and that role is not taken lightly by any president or first lady. And we're fortunate to have 2 women who've done it exceedingly well. To moderate the conversation, though, we had a brilliant idea to ask Jackie O'Neill to come back to the Kennedy School. She is a graduate of the Kennedy School, but she also served for 13 years as the university marshal here at Harvard, which in a higher ed context is as close as we might imagine to a role of this, representing the university, representing heads of state, that visit the university to greet them on behalf of Harvard, and to including signature events like commencement, like anniversary dates of the university. So to be in conversation with Deesha and Capricia, we're fortunate to have Jackie O'Neill, and we welcome you all back. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you all for coming. And I think you all have a brochure in front of you with a very detailed bio of our two distinguished guests. So I'm not going to repeat what Mark said or anything that you can read on your own. I'll just start by saying two things. It's not about what kind of chicken you serve at lunch. And I don't know what the second thing was, so I'm not sure. Does that sound familiar? I'm not running for president, though. So. Anyway, I want to start with you, Capricia, because you've held both of these positions. Chief of Protocol, which is a State Department ambassadorial appointment, and White House Social Secretary. So my question to you is, what's the difference between the two jobs, and how do they overlap in terms of cooperation to make the diplomatic agenda advance?
Well, I first want to just say that I'm so pleased to be here, and I'm so pleased to be with my good friend. We have a wonderful sort of club of us, social secretaries, current and former, and incredibly supportive of one another, and come together quite often. We just had dinner together at Lee Berman's residence, who's social secretary for President Bush. So it's lovely, wonderful to see you, and it's great to be here at this wonderful place where you are a fellow. They were brilliant to bring you in. And it's so fabulous to see Mark Guerin. We have known each other for years, a lot of years, and ask him to play the piano someday. He's a brilliant piano player. He's going to kill me for that. But I have been very privileged to hold both of these phenomenal positions. I think they're the two best positions in our government. Both of them serve in an outward capacity, but both serve in a very, very different way. I am forever indebted to President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton for offering me the position of Social Secretary when I was very young. I was the second youngest by apparently 7 months to Bess Abel, who was Social Secretary to the Johnsons. And I'm incredibly indebted and so very, very grateful to President Obama and also Secretary Clinton then for giving me the wonderful posting of Chief of Protocol. The position of Social Secretary, I think my colleague here my dear friend would agree, that it operates in a way as the communications arm, the visual arm of the White House. So the president has an agenda, and he wants to communicate that agenda. Often the way that he communicates that agenda is visually. Events on the South grounds, press